Hi, it's Pete Moore and welcome to PCM Guns, and I have something a bit different for you here. It's Bergara's BA13 single shot rifle. The last single shot I looked at was my favourite ever single shot. It's the Blaser K95. Also a break barrel action. Basically they're like a single barrel shotgun. There's a lever or somehow you open the breech, hinges open, do your business. The problem with the K95 was it shot well, did everything well, but the price, well, I think it was £6,000 or thereabouts, and which was just huge. You know, not knocking it, but it was just a lot of money and out of many people's grasp. But single shot rifles are quite nice. They're light, they're handy, and what I really like about them is that they do tend to sort of concentrate your attention. If you've got a bolt gun or a straight pull with a magazine, if you're shooting at a deer, for example, and you don't get it right, as does happen, then literally the next round is a couple of seconds away. But with a single shot, you've got to break it. Most of them aren't ejectors, they just extract. You get your fingers and then pull the case out. And there's a lot of time between getting the empty out and getting a live round in and making another shot. And in that time, the deer could have run. So I found that they do sharpen you up and you tend to think more about your shot. I know you should think all the time about your shot. Sometimes if you've got spare rounds, you think, yeah, okay, it's no problem. But if you haven't, then that's the thing. What I do with single shot rifles, I put like a 5-round cartridge carrier with Velcro on the side of the stock, and it just puts the rounds easier to hand, or a little wristlet like this with 2 or 3 in them. It's simple as that. So the action we see is a break barrel, but it doesn't use a top lever like a shotgun. There's a tang on the trigger guard. It breaks like that. It's an extract only mechanism, it's not an eject, so you've got to pull the case out by hand. The other thing about this is it's a hammer gun. Now, the problem with a hammer is you've got to cock it first of all, and then you pull the trigger and it goes forward, strikes the firing pin. Yeah, logical. However, there's a dwell time between the trigger pull, the hammer releasing, and the hammer nose hitting the base of the firing pin. And as we all know, rifle shooting is all about seeing the target, keeping it still as possible, getting your aim on, and pulling the trigger. Now, the dwell time isn't much, but compared to a striker-fired system, it's quite a lot. So that also has to be borne in mind, as we shall see. This gun's in 308. It has a 20-inch barrel, and it's threaded 5/8 by 24 UNEF. The barrel is semi-fluted, and I think the flutes are more cosmetic than practical because they're probably about 1 mil deep, maybe not that. Nice thing is it comes with a Picatinny rail as a scope base, which is good. If you're not used to this sort of rifle, basically the barrel hinges on the action, but the fore end keeps the barrel in position, as we shall see. What I do like about this, apart from the fact it's a thumb hole, which I love thumb hole stocks, just really nice. It's got a very nice high comb, and it is ambidextrous, which is great. The only thing you have to do, again as we shall see, is because you have a scope here and you have a hammer, it can be awkward to get your thumb under the scope to cock the hammer, and there's a little tag here which allows you just to use your thumb like that to pull it back, and that can be unscrewed and put the other side of the rifle. So no problem if you're a lefty or a righty. Nice big fat thick recoil pad. Fore end's generous. There's impressed checkering. Stock is synthetic. And as you shall see, there are a number of options, including camo and a stainless type finish. I've got a moddy for it, Evolve reflex type moddy, which is good. And also I have a selection of 308, non-lead, lead. And that's just some Hornady full bore, which is 165 grain monolithic hollow point with ballistic tip. But I've tested one of these years ago, it was in 300 blackout, and it was quite impressive. But because it's a 308 and it's a small rifle, it will be interesting to see how it shoots. Okay, let's get a bit closer.
Loading is simplicity itself. See the tang on the trigger guard, get a grip, finger on there, squeeze it, and the action opens up. You get your round, slide it in so it engages with the extractor claw, slam it shut, you're ready to rock and roll. Cock it back. This has what they call a rebound hammer on it, so when it's cocked and you press the trigger, obviously it goes down. But even if it's cocked and you don't touch the trigger, or if the hammer slips before you get it on the sear, it will not go fully forward and hit the base of the firing pin unless the trigger is maintained and pressed. Simple as that. So to unload, it's exactly in reverse. Pull that open, lift it up, and then physically you get your fingers in there, pull the case out, and that's it.
Bergara call this the Takedown model, which is quite nice because you can take the gun apart, put it in a very compact package if you're traveling with it, and again it's dead simple. It has a latch here like a shotgun. Fore-end comes off, just crack the action, and that's it. Goes back the same way, lock it in, shut it up, locate the fore-end, and you're done. Simple as that. Right, just got on the Bergara website, reference the rifle, and there are a number of good choices. We've got a BA13 TD Takedown, you get a 222 rem, 1 in 14 twist with a 20-inch barrel, overall length 35 inches, weight is 6.9 pounds, a 223 rem, 1 in 8 twist, 20-inch again, pretty much same weight and everything about it. Then 243 Win is 1 in 10 with 20-inch. Again, it's 35 inches long and it's 6.9 pounds, so that's about the same weight as well. Then you get a 30-06 Springfield, which sounds a bit chunky to me. 1 in 10 twist, 20-inch tube again 35 inches and 6.9 pounds. Then you've got two options on the Blackout, both is 1 in 8 twist rifling, an 18-inch and a 16.5 inch, and they are 33 inches long and 31.5 inches long, and they weigh 6.8 for the 18-inch and 6.4 for the 16.5. Then you get 308 Win. This is where it gets a bit weird. 1 in 8 twist, and they're quoting a 16.5 inch barrel here. It could be for the American market, and the rifle is 31.5 inches long and it weighs 6.4 pounds. 308 Win again, 1 in 12, 20 inch, which is what this one is, 35 inches long with a 6.9 pounds, which is a shade under 7 pounds. Then you had 8x57 JRS, which is 8mm Mauser, which is again another chunky boy. That's 18 inches, 33 inches long, 6.8 pounds. And then you finally have a 4570 Government, woo, which is 20 inch, 1 in 20, 35 inches long, and it's 7 pounds. I think here you need to pick your calibers rather carefully. Again, on the website it doesn't say the barrels are interchangeable, which is a pity. I think they could be, but I'm not certain, because you could buy one chassis and then you could say, okay, I want a 222 for banging foxes, or I want a 308 for shooting deer. Then you could have two barrels. But according to the information on the website I saw at the time, they say the barrels do not interchange, or perhaps they just cover themselves, because they probably do, or perhaps they just don't sell separate barrels. But really, for the UK, it's a balance between recoil and effect. I mean, 222, 223 with a 20 inch, pretty good barrel length. 243, that's another 20. That could rob a bit of energy out of it, I don't know. The 308 is probably one of the most reasonable guns for short barrels, but I'll be a little bit shy of shooting stuff like 8x57, 30-06 and 4570 Government through it. But choices are there, it's entirely up to you. Also, you can get a camo stock, you get a stainless type finish. There's also rifles that don't have a thumb hole, they have a standard sporting type stock, if that's what you prefer. Guns come with sling swivels. Nice thing is, this is a sling swivel hole, this is a stud up front, and you can fit a Harris bipod, which is great. So there's a lot of potential there for the money, I feel. Okay, scores on the doors. First of all, have to say, regrettably, the BA13 did not like anything copper. I tried a number of weights, a number of loads, and it just wasn't having it. It would shoot sort of very wide groups, staggered groups, so you've got to discount them. I was a bit low on 308 factory, but I did have some of one of my favourite loads, normal 170 grain tip strike, which is a ballistic tip. It's a bit like an AMAX, that sort of thing, but obviously it's a hunting load. So I just used that. Okay, normal quote 2625 feet per second and 2,802 foot-pounds for the tip strike. It's not that quick, but it's not that slow. The energy is very good. Actual velocity proved typically a lot lower, was 2525, so I've lost 100 feet per second there, which translates to 2,418 foot-pounds. So that 100 feet per second takes quite a toll on energy. However, for a 20-inch carbine, 2,418 foot-pounds is still pretty impressive and more than enough to drop anything with ease. Standard deviation 11 feet per second, not surprising, normal makes some good ammo. Group was 1.294. So over the inch, call it 1.3. Okay for 100 yards, probably pushing it for 2, but that's just one load. I have my views on why the copper didn't like it, and I think it's because the barrel is quite short, 20 inches, and the twist rate is 1 in 12. And talking to a couple of my learned friends who shoot a lot more copper than I do, they do say that copper doesn't seem to work too well in shorter barrels and that sort of twist rate, which is odd because 1 in 12 is probably actually the medium twist rate for a 308. Most 308s used to be 1 in 12. However, that's the way it goes. I think looking around, find a few more different recipes, different makes. I would say the gun can do an inch, given you find the right ammo. It's not a big deal. So it's capable to a point, but that's the ballistics. Okay, just fire a few shots through it. So load, squeeze the trigger guard, drops open. Round in, make sure it seats in the ejector. Pull it back. That's pretty much what you do. One shot, hopefully one kill. Got to say, recoil is pretty good for a compact rifle, but then again there's around probably about 7 pounds, 6.5 pounds bare-backed. So you're probably looking at 9 and everything on it. So it's quite agreeable to shoot for a 308, even without a butt bag on. The whole thing's quite nice. Length of pull is very good. I've got long arms, but almost perfect for me. The pick rail's perhaps a tad short. Trigger is very good as well, I was quite surprised. Brakes crisply and cleanly. Probably between 2 and 3 pounds, edging towards the 2, I reckon. And no real complaints actually, I've got to say. 4-inch nice and full. Furniture's generally good. So, at the money, if you like single shots or just want a cheap rifle that's going to shoot, BA13 Takedown, not a bad option. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. If you did, tell your mates. Support my channel. If you need to speak to me, it's pmoore.shootingsports@gmail.com as always. And thanks for looking in. More stuff soon as ever. Have fun, shoot safe, be safe. Catch you later, guys.